Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice, just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of QuantumScape, ticker symbol QS. And so I've got a few levels drawn on here that I'll be going over in this video, which I'm recording on November 30th after the close. On the day which QuantumScape closed at $6.34. And so to start, a few of these levels, one being $4.99 marked in red, that represents the all-time low, which was hit on November 1st, 2023. And also I should note these are the daily candles that I'm going over. And so that is a level ideally we will not go below, but that's something to keep an eye on in case we don't want to be forming lower lows. But it's possible that will happen. Okay, so the next level that's in orange is $5.43 based on the open of November 10th as well as the open of November 13th. Also, there was a high near that level at $5.44 on October 27th, and then a few days ago, on November 28th, there was a tail of the candle that came down below that level, but it popped up above it. And so that seems like it will be another level to keep an eye on. And then in yellow here, I have $5.76 marked, which was the high on November 28th. And so following that day, there was a gap up. However, on the 29th, it looks like there was an inverted hammer, a bearish hammer, with this big topping tail. And so really, I should mark up here 683, the high of that day, because in order to negate that topping tail, we want to close above $6.83. So that has yet to happen. That's something we will want to do. But following that gap, there is some downside to fill it going to 576. So I think that's also an important level to be paying attention to. And then so I've got a few trend lines on here, two in blue, one in white. The first one I'll go over is this trend line of support based on, let's see, the close of November 1st, which was $5.09, and then also the open price on November 28th, which was $5.45. And so that's how I get that line. And you can see really just the tail of the candle on the 13th touched that line. There was a near touch on November 10th, but that does look like it could be some support. Also, where it converged with the orange line, we did see a bounce around there. So I do think that these trend lines working in conjunction with these different levels are going to be pretty significant as far as finding bottoms, finding tops, things like that. And so that blue line goes up there, and I'm going to take a little bit of a step back so we can see where these blue lines converge. Let's see. So that would be March 21st, approximately there. And so what I see with this wedge pattern that's outlined in blue is that, to me, looks like it's bearish consolidation. This wedge is trending up. And so wedges like that, from my understanding, tend to break to the downside. And so what I could see happening is if these blue lines are respected, perhaps around sometime in January, this gap could be filled coming down to the yellow line, perhaps even lower to the orange or red, and finding new lows in 2024. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. And you might also note that I do have this white trend line. If that ends up being respected and there ends up being downtrending resistance, that I think could turn this bearish consolidation, this wedge going up, into bullish consolidation with this downtrend here. I think that would be more likely to break to the upside, and following that, perhaps, where this convergence is between the white and the blue lines on January 25th or before, there could be a break to the upside to then test the top of the blue wedge and continue higher above 683. Okay, and so now I'm just going to take a step back to go over that blue line. And so that the top of that wedge is based on the low of December 28th, which was, let's see, $5.11, as well as the low on May 15th, 2023. The December date was 2022. And so that low was $5.71. So those are the two pivot points to get that line. And it does look like there was some consolidation around that line over here. And then with the recent pop, the wick of the candle did go above not only the blue line, but also the white downtrend was rejected. And then today, the high was, let's see, $6.58, which matches perfectly with that blue level. So that does seem like, it is an important level to be paying attention to. And then taking a big step back, to look at this white trend line, which might be, a little hand wavy. I'm not really sure. There are some perhaps invalidations of this line, but I just found it compelling based on the low of May 25th, 2022. It looks like there was this dip below here in September 2022. Then it became resistance in October. A near test right here, the end of October, rejection here as that serving as resistance, the end of January before breaking above, near resistance here, slight break above here in June 2023 before rallying above that line. And then more recently, it has served as resistance between August 29th and right around September 20th, and then just recently with the wick that broke above, but then quickly came back down. So I find that really with kind of like the convergence of the white and blue lines here, I do think that there's going to be a considerable amount of resistance to the upside. I do expect there to be a pullback to 576 at some point in order to fill this gap. But, thinking about that, if that happens, if this gap fill happens before, let's see, around December 19th, I think that could mean that there's more upside either within this blue wedge or above this blue level of support and below this white level of resistance, which could then break to the upside. But if it does fill that gap after December 19th, I do think that these levels to the downside will be met and possibly going below 499. So something to be considering. However, there are also gaps to the upside. I have three marked here, one in yellow at 873, another in orange at 1108, and this final one in red at 1228. So that's, nearly doubling, filling this third gap up here. But, I think it's good for us to not get ahead of ourselves. I do think that there is more downside before we fill those gaps to the upside and, continue even higher. So good to be cautious about that. And if you found this helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.